Buongiorno, everybody. Welcome to During This Kitchen. Today we are going to make a beautiful thing to bring to your table. So I'm doing this ahead of time, but on Monday, March 8th, every year it's the same day, is International Women's Day. So, you know, it hasn't really been a big thing over here to celebrate in America, but the year I lived in Italy 15 years ago, it was a big thing, and it's always been. It's just about thoughts. It's not about expensive roses. It's not about chocolates and candy. It's just to show a little appreciation with what the typical thing over there is, little bunches of yellow flowers, which are mimosa flowers. They're not a big thing here. In fact, Pasquale looked around to see if he could find some, and they said, oh, you might be able to find some plants in May or April or something. So it's not a thing that florists are accustomed to, or anybody that we know of anyway. But one of the things we can do is you can substitute any flower, of course, little flower, just a little thought. It doesn't have to be the $100 roses. They usually come in little teeny handheld bunches with a little bow around them or something like that. Very simple. Also, one of the things they do, of course, we're Italian. We cook. We bake. So today we're making a mimosa cake. And it's this really cool thing that I don't know who came up with it, but I think it's adorable because the whole top looks like a mimosa flower, because mimosa flowers are little teeny flowers that are like in a bunch. So we start with a pan di Spagna, which is basically like a sponge cake. Okay, but it's very typical of a type of cake in Italy. Pan di Spagna is great because it soaks things up when you want to put some liquor in it or something. So I started by beating my eggs, but now I'm going to add the vanilla and my sugar. So I think I had 7 eggs in there because one of them was kind of small, so I threw in an extra. Now I have a vanilla bean here today because I actually just got some new ones, so it was all out. But if you don't have vanilla bean, it doesn't matter. A teaspoon of regular liquid vanilla extract, or a teaspoon of the powdered vanilla. As long as it's all natural and organic, you're good to go. Because you don't want that artificial. They have that stuff that's like artificially flavored vanilla. Ugh, it smells like chemical. So in order to get the vanilla beans out, you slice down the center of the bean, but you try not to cut all the way through. And just open it up. I'm just going to spread it open here. And then what we do is I take our little knife here and we just scrape across the inside, and we get these beans off the top. So we're going to add that in to our mix. So you're going to watch me slowly pour in. So my eggs are very beaten. They're still, well, let's see if I can show you very quickly. They're still pretty, they're thick. I mean, they're getting thick there, but they're going to get thicker once I add the sugar to it. All I did was just beat the heck out of them for about, I think it was about 5-6 minutes. Okay? So we're going to beat them some more with the sugar. Get this vanilla mixed in here first. Okay, so that's good. So what I'm going to do is, because the rest of it we're going to do by hand, so I'm going to pour it into the clear bowl so you can watch. So you can see how this is nice and thick. And I can, as I say, you can write with it. If you can do this and you can see it hold the lines in there, the shape a little bit, then it's, look at how nice and thick that is. So now what we're going to do is we're going to fold in, let's see here, 1 1/4 cups of flour. So I'm going to just sprinkle this in. And we really don't want to beat it because we really want to keep the fluff of the yolk, the egg fluff. We don't want to lose the fluffiness. My oven is already preheated. Now it calls for 60 degrees, 160 Celsius, which is actually 180 is our standard baking. That's 350 degrees Fahrenheit. But 160 is a little lower. So it comes to, I don't know, 350, like 300-ish. Okay. So now we have this nice cake. And remember, don't just mixed. It's just mixed, and you can tell the fluff. And the thing is, it's only being leavened by the eggs. This is an eggy cake. Okay, so now we have 2 pans. And what we're gonna do is oil, and you can butter or oil, but I prefer using oil. Okay. So now one of these cakes is gonna be the cake, but one of them is going to be a surprise. Now, one of the things I am gonna do though, I'm gonna put a little piece of parchment in the bottom, because that's what I like to do. Just because these kind of pans, you know, I wanna make sure that nothing seeps out those sides. I'm just gonna put a little bit more of this in the bottom. I put that original piece on so that makes the paper stick to the pan. And then I'm just gonna put a little bit of flour on the inside. You know, I should have just dumped it in. So we're gonna put half of the batter in here. We use the spatula to get it out of the pan. We use our finger to get it off the spatula. There we go. All right, we're putting these both on the bottom of the oven next to each other so they're gonna cook evenly. Now this pan is like 1/4 of an inch bigger, but I made this one a little bit lower. They're both gonna fluff up, but you're gonna see what we're gonna do with these babies. Okay, in the oven we go. So now we have the next step. So while those are cooking, we're gonna do the rest of our stuff. So first things first, we're going to make our crema pasticceria. Oh no, pasticcera, sorry. Pasticceria is the bakery, is where you go to get the pastries. Pasticcera is the pastry cream. So we are going to start here on the stove. I'm gonna start on this side here just because it's closer, you can see better. I may have to move it over to a smaller burner, but we're gonna start with about 400 grams of whole milk, which is basically like 2 cups, I think it is. No, it's 1.5 to 1 3/4, somewhere in the middle, maybe like 1 2/3. Okay, so we're gonna start with that. We're gonna start warming this up. And what we're gonna do is, remember that empty bean? If you have vanilla beans. If you don't, it's okay. At the end, we'll stir in a little bit of vanilla, but don't do it now. If you're using regular vanilla, save it closer to the end. But if you got a bean, stick it in there and let it go. Now we're gonna warm this up. I have here just about 1 cup of heavy cream. So these 2 babies together. All right, so we're gonna start warming these. Once it gets warmed, so now that's 1 piece. We're gonna let that warm up. Now, we're going to do the next part. We are gonna start with 5 egg yolks. So we're gonna put the whites in here. I'll save them for breakfast tomorrow morning. So this can be easy or it can be complicated, these pastry creams, because you know it's a custard, and custards made with eggs are always, you gotta be careful that you don't, overcook the egg once you get rolling, So as long as you do it the way you're supposed to, very carefully, it comes out. And you know what? Worst case scenario, if you end up with little clots of egg, stick it in the blender for a minute and you'll be okay. All right, so we've beaten up my eggs. We're gonna add in, it is approximately 1/2 cup of sugar. And we're just gonna beat this all up together. Anyway, now we have about also approximately 1/2 cup of cornstarch. And again, you can use cornstarch or potato starch. Oh man, I can smell the vanilla in there. That's so cool. Just smells it smells like, you know what it smells like? Oh, it smells like pudding, like custard. Okay. So now we're gonna bring this just to the point where it starts to bubble. So we don't want it boiling, but we want it just where it's making just the first little bubble around the end and then turn it off. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn this up just a little bit because it's gonna be there in about feels like about there. Yep, there they go. Little bubbles, just a smidgen, and boom, we're done. So now what we're gonna do, while I'm whisking, and actually I'm gonna switch now to this other whisk because it's a little bit more. We're gonna put just a little teeny ladleful while I'm, whoops, get that out of there so you can see. While I'm continuing to whisk, I'm just gonna temper these eggs just a smidgen at a time, just to warm them up and thin them out, but keep whisking. This is the part that if you do it carefully, you will always have a nice creamy custard. Okay, now that this is nice and warmed, before I do anything else, wait, I'm going to take my bean out. Let's just shake it around a little bit in there. There's my vanilla bean. Stick it there. And now we're going to put it in here. Put the heat back on, and we're gonna let this thicken up. Because you realize that because there's egg and because there's cornstarch, together as this heats, it's gonna thicken up into a nice cream. As soon as it gets, as soon as it comes together like a cream, you're gonna take it off the heat, and we're gonna put it into a low, shallow dish. I'm gonna stick it in the refrigerator real quick so it cools off fast. But you also want to cover it so that it doesn't make a film. Ooh, this is beautiful. I'm turning the heat off. Stir this up a little bit more. Oh, and I just want to show you, I'm going to show you with this, just how it coats. See, it coats the knife? Okay. I'm going to keep this here. 1 second. Oh no, I can't lick it. Oh yeah. Okay, so, oh my God. That's what custards and puddings and crema, it's one of my things I love. Okay, we're gonna pour this into this baking dish here just so that it cools off faster. This is just a trick that I learned in Italy, actually. Now, you can cover it with plastic, you can cover it with whatever, just so it doesn't make the skin, because we really don't want the skin for this, as long as it's covered. Put a few pieces of foil here, because we want it to stay soft. All right, I'm gonna put this in my drawer here. So now we have 2 more pieces to this recipe. So one of them is the inner liquor that we're going to soak the cake in. So what we're going to start here with is about half a cup of water. Now you can do this with so many different ingredients on the inside. You can use Grand Marnier, which is very nice, has that orange hint to it. You can use rum. Everybody loves a good rum cake. You can also use limoncello, which is what I've chosen to do today. So we're going to put equal amounts approximately of water and your liquor. So, I'm just going to eyeball it. Okay, that's about equal parts of water. We want to water it down. We don't want it to be too pungent. And we're going to go ahead and put a little sugar in there. Even though there's sugar in the limoncello, we're going to put a little more in here. So we're just going to get that going so it all melts down together. The next thing we want to do is make some panna, which is whipped cream. So I'm going to use, instead of the mixer, it makes so much noise, we're going to put in I've got about, what is this, about a cup or so of heavy cream into my Pampered Chef whipped cream maker, which I love. And if you love it when you watch me do it, as much as I love making whipped cream in it, you just contact me and I can hook you up. I'm gonna put just a little teeny weeny bit of powdered sugar in it. But like that was like maybe a teaspoon. So we're gonna make some whipped cream. Okay, and watch this. And that, now you guys have made whipped cream before, right? Bzzz, for 10 minutes. Yeah, watch this. Look at this. Look at that. Isn't that just a beautiful? Okay, so this is starting to come to a boil, so we're gonna turn that off. I didn't put the lemon zest. I was like sitting here looking at the lemon. I'm like, where was I putting that? It would normally go in that pastry cream. So basically what's gonna happen with this whipped cream is that it's gonna get folded into the pastry cream. So I'm gonna just fix like this. And I'm just gonna put a little bit of lemon zest into this. And you don't want too much because you're already gonna have lemon on the inside, but you want a little hint of it in the cream. Oh my gosh. So this little bit of whipped cream is gonna get folded in, just gonna slightly lighten the pastry cream. So that's that. This is off. And this is all ready. So we want everything to cool off now. Now, the cakes are in the oven. I think they look like they're getting close to done, so I'm gonna take a peek at them, but now we have all of our components, and then it's about assembly, so hang tight. National Women's Day started in the early 1900s. It started in New York City with the women that were working in the factories and asking and finally demanding better working conditions. So it's a day to just celebrate the women in your life, whether it's, and it's not just men to women, it's women to women. It's everybody appreciating what we women, us mamas especially, I will always say especially because, I'm a mama 6 times over, plus the 7 million kids I adopted over the years. So, not legally, just all my adopted children that came and ate at my house. Anyway, so with this, it's just a wonderful day to celebrate. Those little inexpensive little flowers, it's more about the thought that counts. It's not about, showing elaborate stuff. It's, like I said, a little flower, a special dessert, a kiss, a phone call. Those kind of things makes a difference, Okay, woohoo, they're done. Okay, so here's one. Now I purposely made this one smaller because we're doing something else with it. This is the one. They're not super thick. I could have doubled this and made a bigger, fatter cake, but honestly, then I would be eating it. And I really don't need to. So taking that off of there. Take it off with a pan, it cools off faster. See, this would not make it all the way across. This is not a knife. This is a knife. This is my cake knife. So this is specifically to be long enough to go, this is not that long of a knife, but my bread knife that I would normally use is still 1 inch short. And I like my bread knife, my big knife. If you don't have one, it's okay. Just go halfway. We're gonna cut this in half, and it's not that thick, so we're gonna be really careful. Just hold it on top so you know, and go careful at the end. Oh, that came out perfect, man. Sometimes I impress myself. Here we go, 1. And here we go, 2. Okay, so we're gonna take this cake now, and we are going to, actually, I'm just gonna go ahead and use the smaller one now. We're gonna cut this into little cubes. So I'm gonna cut this off, cut this into little stripes, and what I'm gonna do is cut it in half. I could cut it in half that way too, but I just wanna show you what we're doing. We're making little teeny squares. Now, if you can see them, they're probably the size, if anybody remembers sugar cubes, about the size of a sugar cube. We're just going to cut these into little teeny pieces. So you're gonna do this to this whole cake. And I know it seems rather, what the heck are you doing-ish? But you're gonna see when I'm done how cute this is gonna come out. So we got all these pieces. This is all ready here. It's cooling off. Get a beautiful platter because this is oh, no, I'm gonna put it on this one. I was gonna say, sometimes I like putting it on my stand, my cake stand, but this might have pieces that fall off, so this is better because it's wider. Very quickly, I'm going to take my cream and just mix this in here. Just lightens it up a little. This cream is so nice and creamy. And here we go. Time to assemble our beautiful cake. So we're gonna take our bottom piece and we are going to, where did I just take my spoon? We're gonna take this beautiful cream, this custard here. We're gonna put a layer in the middle. I'm going to take my little spreader here and we're just going to, now remember, if you do this, if you want to do this right, you're going to double this cake recipe and you're going to make 2 cakes that are about this thick and it's going to be bigger. Okay, I'm making this small on purpose because honestly I have nobody here to eat it, and so it's just me and me and Pasquale, and you know, starting Monday on National Women's Day, International Women's Day, we're gonna start getting ready for summer. So I'm gonna make this nice thick. You can make it as thick or thin as you like. Let's see, what's that on this side? Boom. Okay. Now I'm going to basically frost this with the same cream. Now some people, I've seen some recipes where people will put the pastry cream on the inside and then on top they'll put just regular whipped cream. But you know, I saw somebody do it this way one time and to me, this is way better. I mean, I love whipped cream, but make sure it's all covered. Again, this part doesn't have to look beautiful, and then afterwards you can come back with a towel or your finger and clean it off. Now, this is what we do next. Oops, licked my finger, wipe it off. Okay, now we're just gonna cover the whole cake with all of these little pieces of cake. Make sure you get them on the sides. Oh my goodness, this is so cute. There's a couple little pieces. Let me throw them on top. Oops, I see a piece of custard. There we go. And last but not least, I'm gonna take a little bit of powdered sugar. I'll move that over there. Take a little powdered sugar on top. And we have our beautiful cake for the Festa della Donna. So I was getting ready to make lunch now because my show's over and I found this little pot on my stove. I'm like, crap, I forgot to put the liquor mixture and moisten my inner cake. So of course I did what any good kitchen mom will do. I was so busy on the mom thing that I got my big old fork and I poked some holes and moved some of the crumb over. And you can't even tell that I messed up the cake a little, but I did. I made some little holes and I drizzled a little bit of the juice on the, sorry about that, on the cake. And so it's all on the inside, you know, because I had to cut through the custard. But anyway, so when you make this cake, don't forget to drizzle your little simple syrup with your liquor in it. That's the best part of the cake. So don't forget to drizzle it inside. If you do forget, just grab your big fork, poke some holes and drizzle it in there anyway. A couple of the ones on top got wet, but actually not too bad. They're still kind of dry. And since we're gonna eat it today, I'm not waiting until Sunday or Monday because, you know, will be staring at me for days. I can't do it. Okay, so this is the International Women's Day Mimosa cake that you can then enjoy with your family or all by yourself in a closet. Do you know that when I bought this house, I bought I have a walk-in pantry that I've never had before. I bought a little stool. There's a little stool in there. Sometimes I just go in and go, just a moment of silence in my little room. There's a light in there too. It's pretty cool. I wish you all a wonderful weekend, and I hope that you really do try this cake. It's not hard. And you know what? Worst case scenario, if you don't want to make a sponge cake, make a regular yellow cake, but don't use a box mix. But make an extra cake and put the crumbly topping on it. But I'm telling you, the sponge cake is good. And I think you're gonna really like it. So bring this to your table, bring your whole family to the table, and teach them and explain to them what the purpose of this International Women's Day is. It gives you a topic for conversation at the table, which always, of course, as you know, keeps people at the table longer. The longer at the table, the more we bond. And that's all we need to have a better world, I think. So anyway, youtube.com/dorinaskitchen, Facebook, Dorina's Kitchen. Check out my group. We have a group where people talk about their foods. That's Dorina's Kitchen Table, so look that up too. And last but not least, please vote for me on the favorite chef competition. The link is on my Facebook page. And what else? And I'll put it under here too, just because. But I made it to the top 10, everybody. So just a quick little instructional about this whole competition I'm in. There's like a gajillion groups. In my group that started out with 30 people, they knocked it down to the top 15. Yesterday, they knocked it down to the top 10. I'm still, since day 2, day 1 I was in second place, day 2 I was in first place. I've been in first place in my group. So I'm doing well. Next week, it's gonna go to the top 5. The following week, they're gonna pick the number 1 out of each group. Then, all those I think I have cake crumbs on my face. Then all the number 1s in the groups start competing. I'm not sure how. I think they break them into groups too, but this thing goes till April 8th. So please, please, I really appreciate what you all have done for me so far. I really thank you for sticking with me and continuing to vote, because I'm still a number 1 in my group. Yesterday, I'm not going to name names because I don't want to embarrass anybody, but I went on to look at my status on the Fave Chef site, and I saw that somebody had bought 100 votes. Those are $1 a piece. So come to find out, I looked at it very quickly, and I'm like, what, 100 votes? And it was one of my friends from grade school. Now, that to me was the coolest thing in the whole wide world. So of course I had to send him a message last night and thank him for his just wonderful generosity. And he was just so happy to share with me that he was happy to see that I was doing what I love. And that really is what I'm doing what I love. I'm sharing with you things that can help bring your family to the table. I did it with mine. I didn't always do it right, but you know, I learned a lot. And I hope that I inspire some of you and your families. And I hope that you'll share it with the younger people in your families too, because those are the ones we really need to make sure that they know what this means, coming to the table. I think our society needs it, and it means a lot to me, and I hope it means a lot to you guys too. And like I said, yesterday when I saw those 100 votes, I just started to cry. So thanks, Bert. I really appreciate it. Anyway, oops, I wasn't gonna say a name, but nobody knows who it is anyway. So I love you all. Thank you so much, and I will see you next time. Buon appetito, and buona festa delle donne. Ciao.